So today we have a special treat for you, and I am honored to be here standing in the gap between this special treat. So you know the Take Back My Vote committee has been diligent in informing you of the different ways to vote and the issues. And today I am so happy to share with you that one of our professors from Howard University, Dr. Greg Carr, is an associate professor of African American Studies and an adjunct professor at the Howard University School of Law. He's also, one second, technology. He's also the vice president for the Association for the Study of Classical African American Citizens and the editor of The Compass, the journal of the ASCAC. I don't know what that acronym means, but I'm sure it's something very important. Students have told me that you really don't graduate from Howard unless you take Professor Carr's class. His class changes the trajectory of your life. It changes the way you view yourself as an African American living in the United States of America and throughout the world. So he is here today to share with us insights on Project 2025. So we all have always told you that an informed voter is an important voter, right? So you have to know the issues and you have to know what is important and what you're voting for. And Project 2025 keeps popping up throughout this election. So we thought that we would bring one of Howard's best here to dissect what Project 2025 means and what it will mean and how it will impact your life. So I am honored to introduce to you my friend, Dr. Greg Carr. He's got the book too.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Everybody older than 59, may I continue to speak? That's called permission. You gotta ask permission for. And I want to protocol at Kane Avenue Missionary Baptist Church, where I was raised in Nashville, Tennessee. I feel kind of funny, Minister Sharon, Minister Lewis stand up in the pulpit, and even funnier with this book in my hand. I almost want to not put this here, but I know God's power is stronger than the power of the devil, so I'm gonna put Project 2025 right here. Hey man, you got to stop playing on First Sunday with them blood songs, brother. That was the good old good one right there, man. There is a fountain. Woo, filled with blood. Drawn from Emmanuel's veins. Yeah, that was, and I forgot it was First Sunday, please forgive me, but I got my communion here. We used to sing that other blood song. Y'all remember that one? The blood that Jesus, don't do it, because I'll start singing. But the one we started with, though, we took the body of Christ, of course, was Lest I Forget. Lest I forget Gethsemane. Lest I forget thine agony. It's a different context, but the same general attitude, lest we forget. And we know that we can't forget in this congregation, in this community, because this is the bedrock here in PG, which means Maryland, which means ultimately this region of this place that our ancestors were abducted to. I don't call them slaves. They were human trafficked. And I don't call them slave masters, anything but one master. They were captors who captured us, and we've got to remember. So thank you all when Sister Sharon, Minister Sharon Strange Lewis, for the invitation. I see our colleague Harold Dean Truyear is going to be here, so that's a good thing. She bring the heavy hitter next week, so I'm like John the Baptist. I'm just going to prepare the way for Harold. But Take Back My Vote, I got a chance to watch some of the remarkable work that is being done here at First Baptist North Brentwood. It's beautiful that this is being streamed and recorded, because we are now within the bullseye. Next First Sunday, we'll either know whether we're going to all have to leave this country or we can celebrate. And Project 2025 has a great deal to do with that. This isn't the first one. We know that the enterprise known as the Heritage Foundation was started in 1983, and 1973. They've been doing this for over 40 years. They do this every election cycle. We know that the Heritage Foundation was born in part out of a memo by Lewis Powell, who was on the Supreme Court of the United States. In 1971, he wrote a memo during the Nixon administration. I apologize in advance for lightweight cursing here. I actually don't like doing it in church, but I did say Richard Nixon, and I'll probably say Ronald Reagan in a minute. Now I've got those curse words out of the way. Powell said we got to take back our country for free enterprise, and something called the Powell Memorandum. I can look that up. It's online. 2 years later, the Heritage Foundation was created because they said we got to get up some think tanks, and they got a bunch of millionaire friends to fund this stuff. They've poured about $22 million into the team that did this document here, Mandate for Leadership. But they do a Mandate for Leadership every 4 years. And they've been doing it. But this time it's for all the marbles. Understand that, very important. And Project 2025 is just the latest one. But we understand that their major objective is, to use my friend Bill Fletcher's phrase, to roll back the 20th century. You know, y'all ain't supposed to be in here all free and talking and all up in all the institutions and doing what you want and running for president and winning. No. Kevin Roberts, who runs the Heritage Foundation, actually knows more about us than many of us. He wrote his dissertation about 20 years ago at the University of Texas. It's called Slaves and Slavery in Louisiana, The Evolution of Atlantic World Identities, 1791 to 1831. That's Kevin Roberts, the guy who runs this criminal enterprise. The dates he uses should tell you everything. When I first saw that, I went and got the dissertation and read it, and as I suspected, he used 1791 because that's the year that the Haitian Revolution jumped off, and he used 1831 because that's the year of the Nat Turner Rebellion. He's writing about rebellious Negroes and what to do with them. Yeah, Project 2025 is different than the ones they've done before. So the Heritage Foundation, this Christian conservative state that they imagine. It's different Christianity than what we're talking about this morning. You understand? This is a theocracy. Remember, the Klan saw themselves as Christians. Al-Qaeda sees themselves as Muslims. And the Klan is to Christianity like Al-Qaeda is to the Muslims. And this group right here is closer to the Klan than they are this word. So I don't mean trying to judge nobody's religion. Ain't but one judge, but we all gonna find out in a minute. This Mandate for Leadership then, Project 2025, is crafted in a notion of decline, a notion that in the last 50 years, this country has declined, and that decline has a direct link to our ascent. This is really a racist document, a deeply racist document. There are 30 chapters in here. It's divided into 5 sections, and they got 4 pillars that they go through in this 922-page book. The first is a policy agenda. That's what this book is. This almost 1,000 pages is a policy agenda. This is their dream. And they've got a beautiful delivery system in this fool who went back to the place where they say he got shot and took Elon Musk with him yesterday. In other words, they're not now trying to talk about truth or facts. They've gone straight to the playbook that has allowed them to win elections before, called the blood, a different kind of blood though. And blood always answers when you make that rebel yell. 5 sections, 30 chapters. That's the first pillar. The second pillar is a database network. They've actually contracted with Oracle to create a database network. As of June, they had over 11,000 people. These are the people they're going to replace the civil service with in the federal government if they win in November. So anybody in here who works for the federal government, your job is in jeopardy because Donald Trump signed an executive order just before he left office, and then he lost the election, so he didn't put it in place. He's running around the country saying he's elected again, he's going to put this executive order back in place. This is the one called Schedule F. You can look it up. According to Schedule F, it will give the president the power to reappoint anybody in the federal government he wants to, so you will now not have an independent bureaucracy. They're trying to destroy the administrative state. Those of you who work in the federal government, you know what that means. The third pillar is a presidential academy. They've got a boot camp strapped up, so if and when they win the election, These 11,000 and more will go through a boot camp to be trained on how to run the government. I wish this was a fantasy. Y'all can actually go to the Heritage Foundation. This is how bold they are. You can go to how many people have gone to the Heritage Foundation and downloaded this document? I see some hands. Y'all know what to do. You can go there and do it. It's very easy to do. In fact, once they found out everybody was looking for it, they then say, now if you want to download it, you got to put your information in. So they're going to collect your information directly, although they do want to abolish the FBI, which, maybe that's one of the things I might agree with. Anyway, the point is that the third is to get their boot camp together, and then the fourth is the 6-month playbook, the first 180 days, when they just basically, if you're playing spades, I guess they would call it running a Boston. They're going to run a Boston on everybody in this country. So let me do this very quickly. I've got my stopwatch on. I want to go through all 5 sections, but do it so quickly that this is just a teaser. Section 1, taking the reins of government. This is 3 chapters, and they are talking about consolidating power. This is the purge, when they get rid of everything they don't want out of the government. Section 2, the common defense, that is eliminating diversity, international proselytization. They want to spread their version of Christianity throughout the world, but they call it religious freedom and faith. They use that language, family, but no, that's not what they mean. They want to get rid of a number of places, but they want to realign foreign policy with their faith-based agenda. Section 3, the general welfare. No, so I should spend a little bit more time on the common defense. They want to get rid of the Department of Homeland Security. That chapter was written by Ken Cuccinelli. Some of y'all probably remember that name from Virginia. This is when Donald Trump says, I don't know any of these people. It's a bold-faced lie. These is boys. Section 3, the general welfare. This is the war on woke section. They want to destroy the safety nets that we have. Retirement funds, Social Security, all that. Privatize all of it. Get it to the bankers, going back to that Powell Amendment. They want to, this is the anti-CRT, which means anti-you and me. There's no question that they want to destroy the administrative state as it relates to your capacity to get social services. All that be privatized. If somebody's going to do it, somebody's going to get paid for it, and it's not going to be us. Section 4, the economy. Actually, general welfare, section 3, that's 11 chapters. That's the longest section. I should tell you where they put their emphasis. Section 4 is the economy. They want to abolish the Import-Export Bank. They want to deregulate business. Y'all saw the Supreme Court case this past summer. The so-called Chevron defense has been destroyed. Everybody in here who's a lawyer, who knows anything about the law, knows that this was a direct attack on the administrative state. They don't want you to be able to sue. They don't want you to be able to stand in the gap between our people and the administrative state. Think Social Security. Think anything involving regulation, the FDA. Think about your food. Think about everything. Think about clean air and water. All these things they want to destroy that. And then finally, independent regulatory agencies. They want to take away all oversight of regulatory agencies. And the guy who wrote finally the chapter on, I'll turn here as I'll close, Federal Election Commission. This is that fool who was running around talking about Trump won the election, Hans von Spakovsky. Y'all probably remember that name. This is the guy who wants to stop everybody from voting. I watched, as I take my seat, I watched the session you all had on the Electoral College and the one on battleground states. And I know we are in a state that might seem like it's safe until you show up if you don't early vote and they didn't move your place and they give you a provisional ballot, which is like saying you're not going to vote, because you don't know what they do with that ballot. And you wake up the next morning and find out Larry Hogan is the senator from Maryland and realize that this ain't just about Georgia and North Carolina. This is about the country. So we know we will continue to check. And as far as I'm concerned, I think we should make November the 5th irrelevant. Early vote, bank that vote, and by the time them hillbillies show up and say, where are they? We already voted. Y'all are here screaming at the wall. But call all your family. And I heard this community say that. Your family, our families, our people who are in these other states, and make sure that they do what we do here, and we'll be all right, because after all, we are protected by the blood. Appreciate you. Thank you all.